Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Right now.
Got it.
This is recording. This is the start bit.
This is the start bit.
It is, yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Hell of introduction. Cool. This is the start bit.
This is this is the part when I say. Have you seen Scream, Ross?
I watched it tonight.
You watch it?
Leave at 8.
Have you seen Have you seen all of the sequels and stuff?
I've only seen the first one.
What is wrong with you?
Do I need to watch all the other ones?
I mean, like, make it more satisfying. Like, I haven't seen the new one, but obviously make it more satisfying.
Yeah, but surely it's called just Scream and not Scream 5 because it's like a new.
No, it's still all the same characters and everything. Like, there's new characters every time, but it's all the same core characters.
Well, I've seen the first one. That's got Courtney Cox and whatnot.
Neve Campbell, David
Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
Yeah, spoiler, he's not in this one.
Well, he died in the first one.
Was it his lines in the first one are really funny. I was imitating it the other day. I'm dying, Billy, I'm dying, man. Damn me. That's the big sin. It's too need a motive. It's really funny. Shaggy.
I like him.
Yeah, I rewatched all the sequels because I didn't know. It's really funny, my relationship to Scream. I don't really I've seen the first one many times. Then like all the sequels, they're always on ITV4, or like at least growing up, they were always on ITV4. So I'd like dip in and out of them. I never really knew what I'd actually seen. So rewatching it this week, I'd seen Scream 2 in its entirety. I knew everything that was happening in that. Scream 2 is actually really good. Scream 3 is not good, but it's still entertaining. I'd seen the ending and like bits here and there. Scream 4, that's on Netflix. I hadn't seen any of that, but I actually think that's pretty good as well. I'm just really into the meta humor. It doesn't get old for me. I think it's all.
Probably should have watched them.
Yeah, you probably should have. Yeah.
Well, unless I can watch the three sequels in the next hour and 40 minutes whilst we're recording this.
Could do. Might be a bit pointless.
Might be a bit pointless.
I've already had two things spoiled for me when I was doing screen checks in there. The other day I saw one. Oh no, was it yet? On Sunday I saw one thing happen in a scene. I was like, sick. That's spoiled. Then, more importantly, I know who the killers are now because I walked in.
It's on at the end.
Yeah, I walked in on that earlier today. That was a bit annoying. Although to be fair, I'm not really the whodunit, especially in Scream 2. The whodunit is not that important. I mean, no, like it's important, but it's not the driving force. And to it, it's not really about the whodunit for me. It's just the meta stuff. The meta stuff is just really fun. Just all the jokes about remakes and reboots. I really like in Scream 4, they talk about because obviously Courtney Cox and David Arquette were married in real life, and they're like in Scream 4, they're like, oh yeah, you have a relationship on screen, but it's definitely you can tell like you're not really romantic in real life or something like that, even though they're actually this is what they say in the film, talking about their characters in the Stab franchise, which is like the film series that's like the meta Scream within the world of Scream, where it's all confusing. But yeah, someone says that to their characters when they're actually married in real life, and then they're also having marital problems in that film, and then they get divorced 2 years later in real life. Courtney Cox, Courtney Cox, had a sex change. Courtney Cox and David Arquette. So yeah, all that meta stuff I really enjoy.
Have you seen Scary Movie?
That's another one where I don't know what I've seen bits here and there. I've definitely seen Charlie Sheen when he took so much Viagra and then fell off a balcony, penis first. It's just like propping him off the ground. I've definitely seen that. I've definitely seen loads of other like bits here and there. I have no idea what I've seen. Like, how many are there? 4 or 5? I've already seen bits.
I've seen the first one.
I should watch those as well. They're probably are they considered to be good? I don't even know.
I don't think they're good. They're just kind of like fun to watch because it makes fun of films, like horror films, I guess.
There's quite a lot of parodies I've watched. Like Naked Gun and Hot Shots, and
I've
even
not seen barely any of them, to be fair.
I've seen Disaster Movie. Have I seen? I don't think I've seen Superhero Movie. I watched The Starving Games a few years ago as well. I was
Is that good?
No, not really. I don't think.
Oh.
Yeah, there's quite a few parodies. They're good.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, the head-to-head erotic thrillers, bringing it back. Did this in the previous format of the podcast, but now in the head-to-head version of what we do here, we're bringing it back with two more iconic erotic thrillers. One from the 80s, one from the 90s. It's Body Heat versus Basic Instinct. Basic Instinct? Basic Instinct. My mouth is very dry. I'm gonna take a moment to just moisten my mouth. All right. Body Heat. Oh shit, I didn't have the page up with the synopsis. Still got WhatsApp up. Body Heat. In the midst of a searing Florida heat wave, a woman persuades her lover, a small town lawyer, to murder her rich husband. Inspired by Double Indemnity, a film I rewatched a few months ago. A great film. This draws a lot on those themes that are in ideas with a few twists here and there. But Ross, what was your first impressions watching Body Heat?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I think one of the best things about this film, because obviously it's about the heat and the heat wave, the whole film just looks so like sweaty to even watch, and like you're uncomfortable, and it just looks boiling hot, and it makes you feel like boiling hot. And then obviously everything that's going on as well. It's like um, what's his name? William Hurt. His character's just trying to kind of like figure out who did it, kind of thing. What her intentions are, etc. So yeah, I really like that kind of part of the film. Well, that's the whole film, but I like that, and yeah, it was just like it was a good watch, to be fair. And obviously, what's her name? Kathleen Turner, she's fitting it as well, so that's always a bonus. So yeah, enjoyed it.
It's nice to see Kathleen Turner, because I've heard about Kathleen Turner, the movie star, because all I know her is now. I don't know if she's had plastic surgery. I'm guessing she has, or it's just she hasn't aged very well. But like she literally plays Chandler's transgender dad or mum on dad on Friends. So that's how I was first introduced to her. That's all I knew her as, because she doesn't really do anything cut nowadays. She's not in any movies or anything like that. Don't know if she's doing any TV still, but yeah. She's probably only in her like late 60s. Yeah. I've seen Romance in the Stone with Michael Douglas, who's in the other film we're going to talk about. And that's a great film, adventure film. Her character's very different, a bit more hapless. This one, there's an innocence to her, but there's also like a ruthlessness that comes through. And yeah, I was excited to see what she has to offer as a movie star, because she's probably one of the biggest stars of the 80s. But May, what are you thinking about Body Heat? She's playing Matty, Kathleen Turner, in this film. I didn't know Matty was a girl's name. Yeah. Other than that, what do you think of Body Heat?
I thought it was quite interesting because I know it's like obviously meant to be an erotic thriller. And I watched Basic Instinct first, and that's obviously quite obvious that the woman is being tricksy and clever and intelligent and manipulative. But in this, I didn't assume that she was. I kind of just thought that she was kind of like, I just took her as face value. So it was kind of cool when the big reveal at the end was that she was basically just looking out for herself, and just sending this guy to prison and then murdering the other guy, and just getting off with all the money. I didn't think that would happen. Maybe that was obvious because it's an erotic thriller. I don't know, or maybe people meant to know stuff about that film. So I actually enjoyed this film a lot more than I thought I would, because I was planning just to skip through parts of it because I was kind of strapped for time. But when we pushed the pod back, it was okay, and I'm glad I did watch the whole film. Yeah, it's a little bit dated and it's a little bit weird in places. Yeah, that's all I'll say for now, because we'll probably dig into it a little bit deeper when we go into the categories.
You're on mute.
Whatever you were saying, it looked really good though.
It looks interesting. Then.
Don't even know what I was going to say now. Basic Instinct. A violent police detective investigates a brutal murder that might involve a manipulative. I said it right when I was on mute. And seductive novelist. Ross. This is the more iconic of the two films. Well, did it make like 200 mil? I feel like it made like $250 million worldwide or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, monster movie. One big movie star and one person who become a star as a result of this film. Kind of mad that this was her breakout role. Like she'd been in other stuff, but this was the one that established her as like a leading actress, Sharon Stone. But yeah, Basic Instinct, Ross. They obviously had a big reputation. It's got an iconic scene, which is also a bit controversial and a bit difficult to talk about in retrospect after what Sharon Stone said about the famous legs uncrossing thing. But yeah, now that you finally sat down and watched Basic Instinct, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is all about Sharon Stone and her performance. She if this was someone else or someone who couldn't pull off the performance the way she does, I don't think the film would be half as good, to be honest. And I think she does this kind of manipulation, this kind of like cat and mouse game kind of thing so well. As like through her performance that it drives the film. And yeah, it's an enjoyable watch, and it's kind of like it always seems like he's a step behind her, and you get the frustration of Michael Douglas in it, and you can feel that, and the tension within the film. It's enjoyable to watch and have that kind of there. But yeah, as I say, I think Sharon Stone is like, she's very, very good in this, and it very much gives the film an extra like a boost in everything pretty much.
I just love the like psychological battle. Not even a battle really. It's more the way she's able to kind of trigger Michael Douglas and provokes feelings in him. Like even you see like he kind of starts imitating her in certain ways. He goes back to smoking, goes back to drinking, all that kind of stuff. Provokes this kind of animalistic side to him. And the way he responds to her in the film, that's kind of the big draw for me. I think that's where it's at its strongest. Less about the actual mystery of it all, because I don't even think it's really a mystery. I feel like you kind of know. Like it's even when I watched the first time, it's like, yeah, she did it. Like it's clearly her in the opening scene. So that part of the story isn't really what brings me back to this film. I've seen it several times now. It is what Sharon Stone is doing to Michael Douglas's character and the effect that she's having on him. And I guess the effect she's having in the audience as well. It's like you say, a really powerful performance. May, what was your biggest takeaway from watching Basic Instinct?
I really enjoyed Basic Instinct, and it was quite like a high level, kind of like intellectually stimulating film as well, because it really challenges you to try and figure out what the hell's going on. I mean, you do have to pay attention a lot because there's a lot of names, a lot of dates, a lot of times, and periods and actions and like people's points of view, and trying to figure out who's guilty and who's not. Because there's a bit of ambiguity at the start because you don't really see her face, so you don't really know who it is with the ice pick at the start. Ice pick? Yeah, ice pick. I'm thinking pickaxe, aren't they? At the start, so you don't really know whether it could be her or it isn't her, but you're fairly sure it is. But you kind of almost like hoodwink, just like Michael Douglas is towards the end, and he kind of feels safe with her, which is just very, very misplaced. And it's quite a thrilling film. And yeah, she just completely deconstructs him as a person. She just takes away almost everyone that's closest to him and just messes him up completely. And he doesn't even realize that it's her doing it. He kind of just does it to himself, to be honest. And yeah, it's a really, really good film. And I think she could be up there with not. I don't know if people get annoyed by saying like she's not like a super villain because it's like go her, she's doing really good and stuff because she's a woman and she's hoodwinking everyone. But I'd say she's a villain because she kills people. I say that's safe to say. yeah, I'd say she's like one of the top villains out there because she's just completely undetected with everything. Like she's in the police station with like 5 different detectives questioning her, and like she is the murderer, and she's just absolutely fine. Like dodges everything, absolutely fine. And I'd say she's probably more dangerous than most people that you see in like villain films today, just because of the way she eludes kind of a capture by just being like the main suspect, which makes everyone almost like dismiss her straight away.
I feel like that whole interrogation scene. Surely that's like really unrealistic. Surely that never happens in real life. Like having like 5 guys, or like the whole like police force just in the room interrogating her at the same time. I feel like that's not a thing. That's like a bit of movie logic going on there to create this iconic scene where she's got them in the palm of her hands, and that takes us nicely into the categories, starting with performances. And yeah, Sharon Stone in that scene, obviously she's in complete control from pretty much the whole of the film, but especially in that scene that she could be sat there with 5 guys, or 5 or 6 guys leering at her, asking her questions, being incredibly direct, and you never feel like she's vulnerable, under threat, which you would normally expect, especially in that period for a woman to be isolated like that, where they all eating out of the palm of her hands, and there's not really many actors who are capable of something like that. So that's a big notch in Basic Instinct's favor in terms of performances. And I think this is interesting because Sharon Stone modeled her kind of persona on Kathleen Turner in the 80s, probably looking at films like Body Heat. So I think that's a nice comparison to have when we're doing these 2 films, the 2 actors that are linked in that way. But Kathleen Turner, yeah, in Body Heat as well, exuding a similar energy. But Ross, who are you thinking? What film do you think featured the better performances? Got 2 striking female leads in both, but does any of the supporting characters take it for you in either of the films?
Well, as you say, I think that the 2 mains like are obviously still the show in both the films. But I think Basic Instincts, it allows kind of more scope for the side actors, I guess. I'm not sure, because there's both films don't really have much for the side characters to do. So it is really hard to pick. But yeah, as I say, I think Basic Instincts gives a little bit more for the kind of side characters to do, to perform and do whatnot. So I think Basic Instinct gets it in that respect. And yeah, I think as well, because of Sharon Stone as well and her performance, it just kind of gives it all a massive boost. And I think this category has to go to Basic Instinct. Yeah, as I say, the side characters I think edge it as well, but Sharon Stone is just so good. And that's I mean, big respect to Kathleen Turner for hers as well. And there's a few good performances like in Body Heat as well. For like the small part Mickey Rourke is in, that kind of stuff. They're all quite good in that. But yeah, I'll go with Basic Instinct.
I used to think Michael Douglas was bad in this film, but I've kind of come round with each rewatch that it is just kind of a perfect demonstration of a guy being dissected, and he's unraveling over the course of the film, unable to control himself due to the influence that Catherine Tremell is having on him. So I kind of gone full circle with that, because initially, because there are certain moments where he really goes for it in a kind of overactory, bombastic way that feels a little over the top, and that kind of fits the tone, the heightened tone of the film that Paul Verhoeven, the director, is one of the best in the business at executing. When you don't actually know whether to take his film seriously at times. Like each film to film you go through is like, is that real? Is that a satire? Is he being serious in that sense? Yeah. And Michael Douglas, I feel like now I understand that he understood the assignment in this film. So I think that, combined with the potency of Sharon Stone's performance, even though I do enjoy William Hurt as well in Body Heat alongside Kathleen Turner, basically we'll get my vote. But Matty, where are you thinking for performances?
I think I would probably give it's tough, but I think I'd give the performances to Basic Instinct. I don't know why. I feel like it just feels like obviously it's a more recent film. It just kind of feels like a fresher, more in keeping performances that I'm used to in films nowadays, if that makes sense. Like the dialogue and the way things move. And there's more emotion that needs to be portrayed at different places throughout the film, and a lot more dynamic conversations. I like the most dynamic conversations really get in Body Heat is just kind of lawyer talk, and it's not that interesting. So I'm not saying they're less caliber, have less of a caliber to act. I'm just saying what was shown to a higher degree was just better in Basic Instinct.
Ross, what did you give a vote? I think you gave it to Basic Instinct.
Yeah. I said Basic Instinct. Yeah.
1-0 Basic Instinct. Story. It's an interest. There's a lot of plot holes, a lot of things you can nitpick in Basic Instinct. You gotta be along for the ride. You gotta be up. You gotta be connected to the vibe that the films bring into the table. Because if you're just coming purely for the plot, there are a lot of holes you can poke in the story, the police investigation, how easily they're ready to like be like, yeah, thingy, what's her name? Jean Tripleman's character, was it Dr. Beth Garner? How quickly they're able to just decide, yep, she's guilty based on like a little bit of evidence towards the end, like as if that she could have easily been framed. There's no DNA testing going on, all this kind of shit. So yeah, there's holes to poke in the story in that sense, but it's more, like I say, it's about the dynamic between Catherine Tremell and what's his name? Nick. Is his name Nick? Michael Douglas's character. What's his last name? Nicky, because his wife called him Nicky. They talk about that. Nick, last name. Nick, last name. What's his fucking last name? Catherine Tremell. Nick. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, but Body Heat. Obviously, I talked about inspired
Nick
by
Curran.
Curran. It's a really dead name, actually. You know, that's why I didn't remember it. Yeah. Body Heat. Inspired by Double Indemnity, borrows a lot of their themes. The kind of it's more of a neo-noir story than Basic Instinct, and that's a certain vibe that I connect to. And the ending is more satisfying, I guess. I feel like both films aren't as strong the second half compared to the first. Like the first half of Body Heat is when they're getting together, and that's like they're getting hot and heavy, and that's when I think you're really connected to these characters and the journey they're going on, and it's kind of titillating and it's interesting, it's intriguing. Whereas the second half of both Body Heat and Basic Instinct more so, I feel like falls off. So yeah, on that basis, I'm giving a point to Body Heat. Matty, what are you thinking in terms of story?
Just because like I don't know. I should have thought about these before we started recording. I want to say instinctually just Basic Instinct, but I feel like the story through Body Heat as well is probably up to par as well. It just has a little bit less violence and a bit more intrigue. So I'd probably give it to Body Heat because it's more story based. And I think there's just a lot of needless nudity in Basic Instinct. I guess that's what it's about, but it's a bit weird to be honest. So yeah.
Not gonna lie, as I was thinking about the story in Body Heat, I realized I should have gone Body Heat for performances. Because I just remembered how much I loved the side characters and how they interact with the story, how clearly defined they are. Like his two friends, like one's this kind of scummy guy, and then you have the detective who's just determined, he's concerned for his friend, but like clearly determined to uncover what's going on. He can sense his friend is in trouble, and he knows he might be up to no good. So there's all those elements help make it help make the story more coherent, more enjoyable. Ross, what are you doing for story?
Yeah, I'm sweating towards Body Heat as well. I think it's also the fact that like Basic Instinct, she's trying to fuck him over, and that she's like playing a game with him and playing mind games. But with Body Heat, it leaves you guessing in that sense, and I think in turn is kind of more like enticing for the viewer and kind of leaves you guessing more and leaves you kind of wanting to find out what happens more. Because you don't know what she's doing and what her intentions are. So I think because of that, with the story, I think it'll go to Basic Instinct. But as you say as well, I think it's interesting, like the police investigation stuff going on in that as well. So yeah, basically, sorry, Body Heat, my vote.
Body Heat levels it up 1-0. What is that? Alexa just responded to me saying Body Heat, and it's doing it again. Visual style. Visual style. What are you doing? Ah. It's never done that before. Maybe it's because I left the tablet on a coach, and it was lonely for like 3 weeks, and now it just wants to talk.
It just wants your attention.
Yeah. Visual style. We already mentioned the sweatiness going on in Body Heat. Feel it right from the opening scene when he's with some other girl, and then you also get like the kind of, I guess, foreshadowing of the role that Arson will play in the story. Not Arsene Wenger, Arson, Arson. When you have that explosion in the distance, it kind of opens with an explosion, then you realize it's in the distance as he's looking out the window of his sweaty hotel room or wherever he is, and then that later comes back to be a significant plot point in the film. But yeah, just that aesthetic, especially in the first half of the film, like I say, that whole feeling the heat of their relationship, feeling the heat of the situation they find themselves in, and the peril they've put themselves in by taking on this audacious crime. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of leading me in more in terms of Body Heat. But Basic Instinct, shot in one of the great kind of movie cities. I think San Francisco is one of those ones where like the city becomes a character. I feel like the Golden Gate Bridge and everything about it, the kind of slow pinch streets, and you can get like the car chase, the really weird car chase, where it's like, how does he's really bad at tailing his the people he's trying to go after, Michael Douglas's character. But yeah, San Francisco, do enjoy seeing that in a movie, but I'm leaning towards Body Heat for the sweatiness. As Ross talked about, Ross, are you going to give it to Body Heat for the sweatiness as well?
Yeah, it's just so sweaty. So yeah, it's just so sweaty. Like you get the feel of the film, like just by if you put on mute and just watched it, you feel sweaty. You know what I mean? I think Basic Instinct, it does have like her house is really like it's just peg and like minimalist, and it makes her kind of even more scary because she's so rich. And then obviously the scene in the police interview room, because it's like dark and she's like lit up and wearing white and whatnot, it looks really cool in that respect. But no, I think as like a consistent viewing, and throughout the whole film, it just keeps that like sweaty vibe, and that's quite like a credit to the directing as well, in that respect. So yeah, I think it's gonna have to go for Body Heat because it's so sweaty.
You just said two things that's making me want to reconsider, because I forgot her character introduction might be my favorite part of Basic Instinct, and it's just perfect. The drive up to this remote mansion, the way whenever a character's introduced, like it feels like a nice environment, but you add the music in there, and then the kind of like jagged cliffs and the waves crashing against the cliffs. Something about that just feels like creates a more menacing figure, and I really like the way they accomplish that straight away. It's like probably one of the great character introductions like of the last 50 years, if not of all time. And also, yeah, that's some of the cross-cutting lighting going on in that interrogation scene. And then there's that bit when he drops her home afterwards, and like the rain's pouring down in their face. It's almost like they have like scales on their faces, the way it looks. Do I want to go for Basic Instinct instead? You know what I am. I've changed my mind. You didn't know that I could do that, but I have. So I've switched. Basic Instinct's gonna get the vote. Matty, what about you?
I'd second what Ross says, and just kind of that sweaty vibe and just the heat and kind of like a horrible frustration, just like all the time, like kind of like makes everything like like their sexual kind of relief as well. Like they kind of get to channel some of that energy into that. I feel like it just, I don't know, it kind of fits the town, it fits the atmosphere. And just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I don't like it that everyone's just like sweaty, always mopping their brows, but it's also a vibe. So it's just weird.
It's a vibe. Yeah. All right. Body Heat. 2-1 up. The tone. Oh. Oh, these are two. I just love the tones in both of these films in completely different ways. Like I've already talked about, like the kind of neo-noir aspect of Body Heat, especially in that first half, the way the music kind of punctuates their burgeoning romance that's happening. And then it shifts to more of kind of the erotic thriller elements in the second half as they're trying to cover up what they've done and backtrack, and you're unsure about Kathleen Turner's intentions when she changes the will and all this kind of stuff. It's like, oh, where are we headed now? So yeah, there's collision of different things going on there. They're all very enticing, but Basic Instinct, that's the tone is the movie basically for me. The whole psychological game being played by Catherine Trammell. That's what attracts me to this film. That's what's going to keep bringing me back when I rewatch this many more times in my life. So I think for that reason, I'm going to have to go with Basic Instinct. It's like a Hitchcock film in many ways. I saw one of my favorite quotes about this film is it puts the cock in Hitchcock, and I don't think you could sum up better than that. Yeah, Ross, tone. Which one's getting your vote?
This one's harder because they both kind of got like a mysterious tone to them. And in that respect it's quite similar, but I think Basic Instinct, because Sharon Stone's so, because of the way she is and so good at what she does, that it like kind of mysterious, like manipulative, and yeah, it affects the whole tone of the film and makes you kind of is stressed out as well and like not sure what she's doing and whatnot. So yeah, I think Basic Instinct, but for me with the tone. But I do really like Body Heat, kind of like that, and that's kind of like a guessing thing as well. But yeah, Basic Instinct I'm gonna go with.
Matty, where are you going?
I would say the tonal shift in Body Heat is good, but just that overwhelming kind of sense of dread and unease that goes through Basic Instinct all the time. Just when because he's always one step behind, and when he realizes just too late what's about to happen, like someone else is going to get killed, or the fact that he doesn't see what's going on, and then you kind of like as the audience member do tend to pick it out, but also just a bit too late as well. That kind of tone for the film, I think, is more powerful, and it just makes you sit on the edge of your seat, especially when he's going up in the elevator. His friend, I forget his name. Gus. Is it Gus? I think it's Gus.
Yeah, it's Gus. Yeah.
Yeah, Gus going up in the elevator and gets to the wrong floor like 3 times, and then it's just bam right there. And then when he has to then shoot Elizabeth or Beth, and then he's not sure if he's done the right thing or not, and then we figure out later that just all of that unplays really well. And I think in a lot of films recently, they give you too much, like you kind of know everything for sure because they leave like 5 different clues just in case you miss 4 of them, because I don't know, this film really trusts you to actually have to try and think for yourself, and it obviously gives you that big reveal at the end, but all the way through it really could go either way. No one's really made up their mind about her because there's evidence both for and against, and I think that tone of just keeps you kind of gripped all the way through. Compared to Body Heat, there is like nothing that really suggests that she's being shifty, and maybe 1 or 2 conversational details, but it's not much unease kind of going through until right at the end she's literally shown on a beach having been shifty. So I'd give it to Basic Instinct.
2-2. The deciding category. I feel like it might be an unfair category based on the discussion, but I was just like the sweatiest movie because Basic Instinct's got some sweatiness going on. There's some sweaty sexual activity going down in that film as well as Body Heat. Body Heat is kind of an overwhelming. The heat envelops you as you're watching the film throughout. But I think Basic Instinct, there's things going down there. Get Michael Douglas after the nightclub scene. That's also a great scene for Tone when just after the nightclub scene when they're having sex and like is it actually when she starts to tie his hands to the headboard. It's like, and when you're first watching this, even now, like watching it multiple times, it's like, oh, is this the moment? Like, and he's like nervous as well, but he's still going with it. Like his eyes are bulging. It's like, okay, is this the moment she's gonna stab me with the ice pick? Just yeah. And then afterwards, the whole interaction he has with Roxy, he's like, yeah, Rocky, when I have a conversation man to man, I think she was the fuck of the century. What a shit. And he's just flexing his bare ass out there in the mirror, looking all sweaty and glistening and shit. So yeah, you never know. Basic Instinct could get a sweaty vote, but I feel like Body Heat might have this one locked down, which is understandable. It's got heat literally in the title. Mate, you going for Body Heat for the sweatiest of these two films?
I don't know, No, it has to be Body Heat because even just in a non-sexual way, it's just a sweaty film. Like it's not, doesn't always have to be sex sweat. Yeah, I'm giving it to Body Heat.
Ross.
Yeah, it's got to be Body Heat, hasn't it? It's just so sweaty, like the whole thing. Like even when they're just standing there talking, you can just see their pits just like covered in sweat, and constantly throughout the film, their foreheads are just like shiny with sweat, and it's kind of making me feel hot right now. So yeah, Body Heat.
Yeah, William Hurt's character, he just always looks so flustered. In part due to the kind of he's not very good at his job. That's one thing, and that plays a part in the story with him not being able, like the whole idea of him not being able to do the will or whatever. And but yeah, also just the sweatiness of it all. Like he's just hot and bothered and can't think straight. And yeah, it all adds to this atmosphere that's present throughout the whole film. So yeah, fair enough. Body Heat. It's going to take the win, 3-2. Maybe an unfair final category. It was like it's like not done. It was like on the smaller scale of when we did Skyfall versus before I'd seen any James Bond when we did Skyfall versus what was it? Was it Spectre? Because I didn't realize. Oh yeah, Skyfall was just a completely better film in every single fucking way. So they just destroyed it. This is like a smaller version of that. It's like yeah, Body just had to win the sweatiest. But those are the breaks, and it wins it 3-2. Okay, I am recording now. Here we are. The game. The game we've created. Lincoln, where the aim of the game is you're presented with one actor and then another actor, and you've got to find a link between them based on the films they've appeared in. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio to Christian Bale. Why have I just created a version for myself to have to do that? I have to think about right now as an example. Should have done this beforehand. Leonardo, let's just do it. Leonardo DiCaprio to Christian Bale. You go DiCaprio to
Tom Hardy to Bane. Tom Hardy's in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, there you go. That's Matty's got it. So that's what is that? Two links.
Revenant, then
Revenant, then Dark Knight. Right? Yes, that'll be two links.
I said it in my head, but I didn't say it out loud. So.
You have 90 seconds to establish a link, or you get a. Is it? I've said you get a 10 link penalty if you don't get the links.
You can't complete it. 10 links.
Yeah. Is that
yeah?
Is
that the scores are the best point. Whoever has these points wins.
So it's like golf in that sense, and you're only allowed one MCU link because it's very broad. Likewise, no animated or motion capture links. Yeah, those are the rules. All right. Who's even coming up with the two actors?
Oh, we didn't think of that, did we?
Leone.
Come up with two actors. Zendaya.
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 There goes my one MCU link.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's how it works, isn't it? Because that's the film you'd have to start on if you
Yeah.
saw it.
Yeah.
And what?
Sean Bean.
And Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. Oh, that's interesting.
All right.
All right, we're
go.
ready. Start the clock.
Sean Bean.
So where do we go? All right. Shake It Up, Chicago. No, I'm joking. Who in?
Think in your head, man.
No, because we got to talk because it's a
Yeah.
podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Didn't think of that.
Well, that does
It's
make it
not
harder,
hard.
but oh well. You know what? Let's just go. Let's just go out there.
Oh, you can't do animated, can you?
Let's just
How am I gonna get?
let's just go. Let's just
pretty
get
hard.
wild. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh no, I just had it and I lost it.
Ah, shit.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
God. Wait, I had it and I lost it. Fuck, 23 seconds. He's in. I just had something in my head and I've lost it. Oh, yes.
I'm writing really fast.
So am I.
All right, done it. I got it. 3, 2, 1.
Fucking hell,
There's your
that's okay.
time. All
I
right,
did it.
mate. Did you do it?
No.
All right, Ross. What did you get? How many
Okay.
links? And then explain your links.
1, 2, 3, 4 links. So, start off with Sean Bean.
Oh,
He is
whoa!
in-
Wait, what? I thought you had to start with.
Oh,
Hold on. Whoa! I thought you had to
No,
start.
sorry, I
with
got 5. I got 5 links. 5 links.
I thought you had to
got
start with
right down to-
Zendaya.
You can
Yeah,
just
don't
read
worry,
it,
I'll just go backwards then.
Right, go.
Okay, it's it was 5 links. I forgot to write down Zendaya's name. Right, okay, 5 links. So Zendaya is in. No, hang on. I've just used, it is 4 links. Ignore me. I've just added the. Okay, yeah, 4 links. Okay, Zendaya is in Spider-Man No Way Home, spoilers, with Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire is in The Great Gatsby with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio is in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is in Troy with Sean Bean.
Oh, bastard. That's what I was going to. Well, I had the beginnings of that.
So 4
Didn't even know.
links.
Didn't even know Sean Bean was in Troy. I had 5 links. Zendaya's in Dune with Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem's in Collateral with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is in Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's in Curious Case of Benjamin Button with Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett's in The Fellowship of the Ring with Sean Bean. Yeah. So
Nice.
Ross, we're not doing bonus points or anything, are we? We just decided it's just the links you get. Yeah.
Just the links, yeah.
So Ross is on, so we'll do 3 of these. That's 1. So Ross is on 4 links. I'm on 5 links. Matt is
Mate's
on
on 10.
Stupid game.
Shit, anyway.
Shit. Round 1. Fight. All right. We ready?
Yeah, the only's gone, so she can't give them more actors.
Oh fuck.
You left the door open. Oh, no, she can just come back up. Leonie, we need more actors.
Leone.
Leonie, he doesn't like actors. That mini cheddars. Is that a pack of mini cheddars?
That's not an act. Mini Cheddar's aren't an actor.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them. What are they in?
Mini driver.
Mini Driver. Should we do? Oh yeah, fine. Mini Driver.
Who's Mini Driver?
Oh, you're fucked then.
Don't tell him. Hey.
Right,
Do you know
Leone,
who
another
Mini
actor.
Driver is.
No. Who's that?
I'm looking her up.
No, you
Well,
can't look-
you can't do that.
Well, I can't play otherwise.
Fine. Do a different actor.
No, because he's gonna look what she's in. That's the only way he's gonna know.
Oh yeah, I can see a few films she's in. Okay, that'll help.
No, because I only know one. Otherwise, I can.
What was I meant to do?
Lose. You're supposed to lose like a proper.
No, you could have just googled her face, and then you would have known the one thing that she's in famously.
Nah, he's out for this round. He's done.
No, we'll just do a different actor. Leonie.
Yeah, all right.
Leonie, we need 2 actors.
What is she in?
She's in.
We don't care. It's
Thimble
over.
Hunting,
Get over
Cinderella,
her. She doesn't
Goldeneye.
care. Mini Driver. No one cares about Mini Driver.
We're not doing Mini Driver because I've just looked at 3 films that she did.
Mini Driver.
I wouldn't be able to do it anyway
Huh?
because I wouldn't have known what she was or wasn't in.
Well, it doesn't matter if you know. We just need some actors.
She's married to
Yeah, but I
someone.
could give you an
No, she's
actual-
not.
No, just
be
give
the
us
same
some
film.
actors. Give us some actors.
Oh, well, Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Who's that? Can I Google all the films she's been in?
If you don't know who she is, yeah.
We have Kate Blanchett with the budget. What? We have carte blanche. 21 Jump Street. 2.
Go.
What?
Yeah, just one
Mini
actor.
Driver.
Go.
Can't do it.
Woody Harrelson.
To Woody Harrelson.
All right, that's good.
Let me write down his name.
Start the clock.
All right, let's go.
In December 1964. So you want to do the weakest link? All right.
ATB.
KEB. All right. Fuck. Okay. How do we get to the way I want to get to? ASAP. Oh shit.
This is hard.
Yeah, this has hurt me quite a bit. Oh fuck. Oh my days. A
Woody Harrelson
frozen.
does so much stuff as well.
A frozen, yeah. It's almost too much. Wait. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's how we're gonna play. We're just gonna rehash some ideas. Yeah, might as well. It's just the approach of a desperate man.
For me, I there must be a link between these two that I can't think of.
All right, that's turned out all right. All right. I'm not proud of it, but we got there. It's messy.
No, fuck, that one's so bad.
It was like Man City's win at the Emirates. It was just messy, but we got there in the end.
I didn't. I fucked that one.
May.
Didn't do it.
Well, it looks like it's down to me then. So 4 links. Kate Blanchett to Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button. Brad Pitt to Cruise in Interview with a Vampire. Cruise to Bardem in Collateral. Bardem to Woody Harrelson in No Country for Old Men.
I'd be better at this if I watched more films.
I literally just rehashed half of my previous slate on the previous go.
Because I was just missing Brad Pitt to Tom Cruise. And I panicked and then went Burn After Reading to J.K. Simmons to then nothing.
I was like,
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett, oh, she's in Don't Look Up. There's always people in Don't Look Up. I'll be able to think of something. And I was like, Woody Harrelson, what's he in? He's in 3 Billboards with Sam Rockwell. Sure, I can link Sam Rockwell with someone in Don't Look Up. And that's what I was trying to think of the whole time.
It's really funny where your brain goes.
Yeah.
I went to Boogie Nights for a bit. I was like,
All right, round 3.
We need more actors.
Right.
good ones, easy ones.
Yeah, that was too hard. Me and Matty
I
didn't
thought
get it.
that'd be really easy because I thought they were.
Yeah,
really
It probably
minutes.
was, to be fair. Leon got it. Yeah,
I know. I actually
let's
looked.
change it to 2 minutes.
I actually looked and then.
Whoa. We can't change the rules up right now.
You're the only one who's doing it, so shut up. We can change the rules.
Fine, you can have 2 minutes for the final round. That's the rule.
For the final round. Okay, cool.
2 minutes 30. Yeah.
No,
2 minutes.
come on.
All
Let's
right,
not
next
30 seconds.
let's not take the piss.
Let's not
here.
take the piss here.
Where's that from? Let's not take the
Jack
piss. Here.
Nich- Let's not take the piss here. What
Is that Harry Redknapp?
Let's not. Oh, let's
No,
not
no,
take the piss here.
it's Roy Hodgson. In
Yeah,
Magic of the Dead.
yeah.
Let's not take the piss.
Let's not
Here.
take the piss here.
Oh, Roy, I was just
what'd you
asking
say?
you about your team. Let's not
They
take
only
the
said
fucking
Jack
piss.
Nicholson. Jack Nicholson.
Callum Tickleballs.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah,
And
in The Shine. Wendy, darling, light of my life, you didn't let me finish my sentence. I said I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them the fuck in.
Jack Nicholson to Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm.
All right,
All right,
start the clock.
2 minutes. Go.
All right. Sometimes you just gotta get ideas on the board straight away. Get the juices flowing, even if it's one too many links. You might be able to strip it down back later, but you just gotta get some ideas down on the fucking table, if you know what I fucking mean. As he says that, I've gone blank. Ah, shit.
Yeah, I need to stop singing. Stop actually thinking. Jakey G. What's his?
There's got to be a better way to get.
Aha, yes. No, yeah.
Oh shit. No.
What's his fucking name? Yeah.
This Sagarin Succotash.
Okay, I've done it. With a minute spare. I didn't need the extra 30 seconds.
All right, calm down.
Let's see if I can cut this down. I've done it already.
Oh my days, what the hell?
He's in that with him. He's in that with him.
Oh yes.
And he's in that with.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
If I can.
Yep. Nice. That's nice. That's the good stuff. And we got there in the 90 seconds as well, just to keep it clean. Keep it down. Yeah. I live, I die again. 10 seconds on the clock. Must do it on the beat.
You guys done it?
Yeah. All right.
So loud.
Matt, did you get it?
Yeah.
All right, you can go first.
Yay. I did it in 4 because panic. What were the actors?
Nicholson to Gyllenhaal.
Oh.
I didn't do it.
Jack Nicholson is in The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio is in Inception with Ellen Page. Oh, sorry, is it Elliot now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elliot Page is in then X Final Stand with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman to Prisoners to Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh yeah.
Matty, I'll take you that and I'll cut you down by 1. I did it in 3. So I've got Jack Nicholson's in The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio's in Django Unchained with Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson's in Spider-Man Far From Home with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Boo, he used MCU.
He's used the MCU link.
Boo,
Yeah,
plus
that's
5.
Boo. That's like phoning a
Well, you
friend.
know what we could do? We
So I
could
did it in a
do
minute.
MCU films count as 2, so it's less advanced.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then motion captures count as 2.
No, that counts
So
as
you-
three.
Animations count. No.
You can all right, count as 3, whatever, but you can still
Yeah, that's
do-
Oh yeah, that's a good idea actually.
so it's
yeah, I
like
got-
taking
Well, we've decided that now. So
yeah, no, yeah,
like,
whatever, yeah.
no, you know, obviously that doesn't apply for you.
I got it in
Let's say.
3. I got it in 3 as well, Ross. Without the
use the
MCU.
MCU.
No.
Sure.
Nicholson to Leo in The Departed. Leo to Ruffalo, Shutter Island. Ruffalo to Gyllenhaal, Zodiac.
Nice.
Nice.
Clean.
Yeah, nice and
Mm.
clean. In and out. No messing around. Business
Cool.
done. Yeah, that's a good idea to have MCU links
Plus
count.
2
Yeah.
for an MCU.
Oh
You
yeah.
can use
Oh,
if you
that's,
want, but they're plus 2.
that's good.
At
That's
the end of this, we'll have like a whole list of like blacklisted films. You go, oh, that's a multiplier. Oh,
yeah.
Wins will come out of nowhere.
So
We can
animated
make it into
motion
a whole TV
capture,
show.
but no cameos. All right, I've started recording again. Yeah, that was abrupt. That would have been abrupt. Who did win? Matty's.
So let's count.
How many did you get, Matty?
I got 24.
I got
Hmm.
17.
I got 12.
My plus 10 fucks me.
I got the most points. I win. Let's go. See you next week, guys. Moving on to the cinema, right?
See you. Oh yeah, moving on to the cinema thing that we're going to record now, and we didn't record yesterday. Wink, wink.
Can we call the cinema episode
Nudge,
now the bonus zone or the bone zone for sure?
Bone and zone.
Bone
Mate,
zone.
mate, it's weird that you
Bone
chose
zone.
to watch the 2 head-to-head films. You could have just watched the 1 film on Apple for the cinema film.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you have Apple.
Do I?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, Mason. He's on Mason's account, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Oh, is he not?
Nah. There's
Oh,
4 of
shit.
us. It's me, you, Mason, and Jay.
Oh, shame.
He's mugged you off there.
Oh, he's Soz.
Yeah, that's cool. That is. He's not even on the podcast, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but he's probably watching like the morning show or something. I don't know. Okay, that is actually the end of the end. Well, not the end of this game, because we now know who
On
won.
the podcast for us because we didn't
Yeah.
record it yesterday.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
My husband.
King that shall be.
If we should fail,
We fail. Didst thou not hear noise?
methought I heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more."
Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one that dare look upon that which might appall the devil.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword.
All right, let's talk the tragedy of Macbeth. A Scottish lord becomes convinced by a trio of witches that he will become the next king of Scotland, and his ambitious wife supports him in his plans of seizing power. Familiar story, told many times. I think that's the funny thing with all the Shakespearean stuff. It's like, 'cause I was trying to think, have I even read Macbeth? It's so like familiar in my mind, but like, did we do that in school? I don't know. I definitely did Othello at A level. I can't actually remember. I can't imagine reading Macbeth. And even then, I couldn't even think of other like adaptations that I'd seen of it. I watched Throne of Blood, which is a Japanese film based on it, like last month. But I've definitely got an image of this story in my mind, but I couldn't think specifically what adaptations I've seen of this story. I don't know. What's your guys' relationship to Macbeth and Shakespeare in general? That's what I kind of doing this film. I was kind of thinking about. Mason, you first. What's your relationship to Macbeth?
I think the reason you can't really like pinpoint one adaptation is because I'm pretty sure, or I know I done it in English, but I don't know if this was when I was dropped down a set and not in top set. But I remember we watched loads of we watched loads of little clips from different adaptations. Like I've seen the Judi Dench
Oh yeah.
scene
I remember
at
that
Down
scene.
Spot. Yeah, I've seen that, and I think there was another BBC adaptation once where it was like a battlefield and the witches were there. I remember that scene quite clearly as well. So I think it's just, and there's a cartoon one as well. I think the school showed us. So that's where it's annoying because I don't think I've seen any of them the whole way through except for this one. But I've definitely read the story before, and that was really weird watching it because I was kind of quoting it in my head, like just being aware and being like, oh yeah, this is this bit. Oh yeah, and it is an interesting experience. I think Shakespeare is the only one I really think of that has these really clear adaptations like that. And Macbeth just seems to be the one that kind of slaps each time.
It's those buzz phrases like "unsex me here," and you remember all like the titles, Thane of Cawdor, and Thane of Glaves, and all the like stuff that the witches say. I feel like that's like ingrained in your mind at this point.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. So did we read it in class?
We must have, yeah, because I remember trying to actually like analyze all the "unsex me here" bit, the bit where she says she'd rip a baby like off of
Yeah.
her breast as it was drinking
Yeah.
and smash his head in. There's bits I remember so clearly where it's like this isn't just from watching scenes of like the Lady Macbeth part, and it's understanding how she goes crazy. I knew the story too well for somebody who hasn't seen any adaptations the whole way through. So we must have, yeah, we must have.
Ross, what's your relationship to Macbeth? Do you recall any adaptations you've seen? Remember reading the story?
I've never read it or never seen any other adaptations. In the second set English, we did Romeo and Juliet, so that's why. But no, I've never even, I don't know the story of Macbeth at all. Like, obviously you get quite a lot of films based off of kind of the stories, you know, like West Side Stories, Romeo and Juliet, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a familiar story, I guess, just from other films. I can't really think of anything specific, but just from seeing other films previously. But yeah, I didn't really know anything about Hamlet. I think this is quite a new experience for me watching a film that's basically in like Old English as well. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't understand most of what they were saying, to be honest. But like you can understand the gist of it and what they're saying enough and what's going on with the story enough to actually enjoy it anyway, regardless if you like they just kind of waffle on about not much for about 5 minutes sometimes, but it's fine. It's enjoyable, you know. I actually did enjoy the film. So yeah, but no experience to Shakespeare really at all, apart from Romeo and Juliet.
See, that's interesting. I was not expecting that at all. I thought we'd all have like the general outline of the story because we'd experienced it in some way. So you definitely had like a completely different viewing experience. If first of all, the fact that this is your first experience of Macbeth told in this very unique cinematic way, with like the kind of German expressionist style and all that kind of all the black and white cinematography, all that kind of stuff. Watching it like that for the first time is interesting. And then also, yeah, like you say, like because I don't understand a lot of what they're saying in terms of like the specificity of the language, but because you know the outline of where the story's going, it's like, okay, this is that scene, this is what it means, here we go, and you know like the key words, and you know that where the dramatic moments come from. The fact that if you didn't know, you're not familiar with the story, trying to understand exactly what all this Old English actually means would be quite confusing, I guess. But you said you enjoyed it, so that's interesting. But yeah, I guess I'll go to you first then. What was it about the Tragedy of Macbeth and this imagining of the story by, I should say, Joel Cohen, one of the Cohen brothers, going out on his own for the first time in his career. His brother didn't want to come along for this ride. But yeah, the black and white cinematography, everything's very striking, the production design, all that kind of stuff. Was that what appealed to you if the story was perhaps a tad hard to follow?
Yeah, I think this film is like technically excellent. Like it's in black and white, but just kind of the set design, the lighting, that kind of stuff. It's all, even though it's in black and white, it's visually very, very stunning to look at. And I think some of the performances in here were really good as well, especially like Catherine Hunter as the witch. The witches, she was really good, and obviously Denzel always, and Frances McDormand pretty much always put off a performance, so they were fun to watch. But you know, as I say, like you kind of watch. It was in Old English, but you pick out kind of key words and you pick out bits and bobs, and you follow, because the story's not too hard to follow either. So I think because of the way it is filmed as well, and the way it's directed, you can kind of pick up the story a lot through just kind of things happening on the screen, because that's a credit to Joel Cohen for directing it so well there as well. So yeah, as I say, I there were scenes like, I think Frances McDormand had a couple scenes where she was kind of just talking to herself for like 5 minutes or whatever, but it's you, even if I didn't understand half of it, you can kind of just be in awe of the acting, be in awe of kind of everything else that's going on, regardless.
I think he kind of strips the story down to the key moments, the key scenes. So that helps kind of drive the plot forward. There's not a lot of fat around the story. Just like the key bits, this is what we need to communicate. Here's the big character moment, here's the big soliloquies and all that kind of stuff. So I think it works in that sense. But Mason, as someone who is familiar with the story, so you're not kind of on Wikipedia, I think they describe it as a historical thriller. There's less thrilling when you know exactly where it's going. Even then, tough to describe it as a thriller. But either way, you knew where the story was going. So what was it? If it did work for you, what was it about this story of Macbeth, this imagining of it that worked for you?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what my experience would be so different to Ross's, because I can kind of just get lost in the actual cinematography and the acting and not really have to listen to what they're saying. Like you said, I can, if I pick up on a few words or sentences, that's enough, because then I'm remembering the whole story that I know, and I can kind of imagine where I'm at in the story itself to kind of straight away. So for Ross to try and understand, like, basically you can either choose to just enjoy the cinematography, or if you have no idea of the story like Ross did, surely you're having to try and understand what they're saying. Whereas because it's already been analyzed, like, because we've already analyzed it, say, in school years ago, I'm kind of referring back to that mentally in my head whilst just enjoying what's on my screen at the same time. So I was able to kind of separate the story from that. Yeah, calling it a thriller is just funny, because I actually really wish we watched this with Ross now, just to kind of see his kind of maybe shock or just any kind of reaction to the story, because nothing was shocking, I'm guessing, to you as well, Leon, as it was to me, because you were very aware of the entire story. Or even if there's certain bits you forget, the key parts of Macbeth are so clear in my head that nothing would shock me whilst watching this. But I think all in all, yeah, it works for me. It's I think it's really effective in the way that I still feel like it stayed true to being a play, in the sense where the set design isn't really crazy, or there's not much distracting kind of environments or scenes behind you. You are just solely focusing on who is on screen, and whoever's speaking is always kind of center to the camera. And it feels really true to a kind of like a theatre performance, really, like a play performance. So
yeah, I think it's like a play in the best kind of way, because sometimes that's used as like a criticism of certain films. Like, it feels like too like stagey and perfunctory, I guess. Like, not, there's no, like, I don't know, nothing natural to the way the characters are moving and things like that. I think, yeah, this works as a play in a really good way. Like, kind of a lot of the scenes will start with like a nice wide shot of the scenery or whatever, and the character kind of moves forward into the front of the frame to deliver their monologue or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was effective in that way. And it is, yeah, it's just funny knowing, like you said, like knowing what's happening, knowing the story. You're kind of waiting. It's interesting because it's like it's not a remake. Like when there's a remake of a film, you kind of know you're interested to see if certain moments are gonna happen. Like if they're gonna just redo something that was cool in the original film or something like that. Whereas with like a Shakespearean, it's not a remake, it's another adaptation, but it's still like there's been loads of versions of this story. You know, the dialogue will always change. Like you're not gonna edit Shakespearean dialogue in these films unless you're gonna modernize it. But you're not gonna edit the original text. So you're waiting for those, like I talked about earlier, like the buzz phrases, the key phrases, the big monologues, Lady Macbeth, kind of the whole masculine monologue. She goes about like unsex me here, all that kind of stuff. You're waiting for those moments and all the characters like psychological breakdowns. So it's a funny way to watch a film in that sense, knowing exactly what's going to happen and knowing what's exactly going to be said, and you're just interested in how these actors are able to deliver that dialogue. So I guess go on to performances like that. Ross, you said you like the Catherine Hunter. I'm not familiar with her, but she plays the witch. I love the way the witch is shot. The way, I don't know, is it if it's a visual effect or it's just she's like a contortionist, the way she's able to move her body, like like the way she flails her arms. I saw a tweet where it was like me getting out the shower when I forgot to bring my towel like into the bathroom, kind of like creeping along, trying to not drop as much water as possible. But yeah, there's any other performances that were striking to you, Ross?
Yeah, but aside from her, I think all round there are decent performances. Obviously, I think Denzel, Francis McDormand, and Corey Hawkins get the kind of front seats with performances. They get to perform the most and give the most, especially obviously Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And I think yeah, with Denzel and Francis McDormand, you expect a performance, and they absolutely delivered. And I think especially Francis McDormand with her, as I said, she had a few monologues, just her, and always pulled them off, and just put everything into it, and that's a real credit for her. I assume both of them might be nominated for best actor, best actress, best supporting actress, whatever. Because yeah, I think they deserve it. Yeah, I think that those two are special. But I mean, apart from that, I mean, there wasn't too many other people that got like a big role or the kind of scope to be able to perform. I mean, Brendan Gleeson was only in it for like 20 minutes or whatever. He did good with his short time, and there's a few others that had a short amount of time, but they all did well. I don't think anyone was bad in particular.
A performance that stood out to me, and he looked really familiar. I wasn't sure where I'd seen him before, but it seemed like a face that I'd seen quite a lot of times. But it's the guy who plays. His name is Alex Hassel. He plays Ross. Ross? He's so he's the one who informs. Oh, I'm gonna blank on these names. He's the one who informs Macduff that his family's been killed, and he's the one who executes Banquo and then tries to go after his kid. He's basically tasked with that by Macbeth. And that actor, I really enjoyed that actor's performance. There's a real presence behind it. I was wondering where he's from, but he's actually played Translucent in The Boys, the Amazon show. I was surprised by that. Like, I thought that's literally the only thing I've seen him in. He doesn't know any notable film work other than this now. But yeah, I thought there was something about his presence that made me want to see him in more stuff. Like, he's only in The Boys for a few episodes, and a lot of the time he's just trapped in a cage. Spoiler. Yeah. Mason, any spoilers? Any any performances other than the ones that have been mentioned that stood out for you?
I think Macduff's wife's performance actually stood out to me quite a bit as well. Just for the scene where a kid literally gets thrown into the flames. But that felt like a proper like Game of Thrones kind of like scene. It's just sort of jokes where it just gets died over the the ledge. But again, I'm not sure if that was an adaptation, because I didn't remember that at all. I thought in the actual story, it just notes that his kid and wife gets killed. I don't really remember actually like visiting that. But I thought her performance was really good actually. That was something just like weirdly stuck out to me, because I didn't remember it at all from the original story, and yet she was probably only on screen for about 4 minutes. But yeah, it was impressive. Her performance was the only other one that kind of really stood out to me.
Yeah, Dudley Dursley from Harry Potter as one of the king's sons. His career's been quite interesting since being in the Harry Potter films. He's lost a lot of weight, trying to reinvent himself. But yeah, I want to talk about Denzel for a second. Obviously, just great. This is great stuff. The thing it's kind of made me, I guess the biggest compliment I can say is it makes me want to see him do more Shakespeare work. Like, he did Much Ado About Nothing like 20 years ago. I haven't seen that film. But like, there's something about the way he delivers the lines, which is like perfectly done. The dialogue's all to the letter, but there's still like the inherent Denzel-ness to it. Like, you can feel the movie star breaking through whilst he's doing Shakespearean dialogue, and I think that's quite a hard skill to pull off, to still have that charisma whilst you're doing this very specific dialogue that doesn't give you a lot to. I guess it gives you a lot to move in, because it's hard to understand. I guess there's a sense of freedom in that, but it's hard to be charismatic in a modern sense, I think, doing Shakespearean dialogue. But Denzel, I think he delivers on that front. But ultimately, yeah, we talked about it. The real star is the way the film looks, the black and white cinematography. I think if they didn't do any, like, it's all on sound stages, like it was nothing out on locations to kind of give it that weird, because there's a weird dreamy feel to the whole film. I think it feels detached from any kind of reality. And I think that's effective in kind of crafting a new, almost nightmarish vision of this story. Like, I don't know, Ross, did it ever feel like you were watching almost a horror film at the time? I mean, we talked about kind of what genre it is. Like, doesn't really feel like a thriller, especially if like me and Mason know what's going on. But I think something about the way it's shot and the whole vibe of it kind of feels like a horror, which I guess is part of the story of Macbeth, but not always articulated. But yeah, did that enter your mind at all watching it?
Yeah, I actually know what you mean. I mean, I think because it is so dark as well, like when it's on screen, and you know the murder and kind of the very dark like vibes that Denzel's giving with his character as well. Because as you say, his performance is so good. He's so like powerful within the role, and he plays this like he plays like a true villain very well, and he's just going crazy, and it's kind of almost like a psychological thriller in the way you're kind of going crazy with Denzel, and that's a real credit to him and Joel Cohen as well. So yeah, it really gives off that vibe, and as I say, I think it's because of the dark tones of the film, and because it is in black and white, it's a lot of like black, just on your screen as well, dark in tone, dark to watch, and yeah, so I know exactly what you mean by giving off the horror vibe, and yeah, I completely agree.
I saw one person say that there was no chemistry between Denzel and Frances McDormand in the film. I was trying to think about that. I was like, can I really argue against that? I thought like they were both excellent in their own right, but I don't know. I don't know if I believed them as a couple. Like maybe that's the only thing I didn't like about this film. It didn't really occur to me until I saw that comment, and I was like, the scenes where they're together and kind of she's trying to manipulate him as like the Lady Macbeth does is like the iconic trait in hers is her ability to exert control and power over him to get what she wants. Like, and she also wasn't in it that much either. Like once he does the deed and the king's out of the way, you kind of don't see her for a while. Then it's just her mental breakdown. So yeah, I don't know, Mason, do you feel like the Lady Macbeth and Macbeth in these performances in this film, do you think they worked as a pairing? I thought individually they were excellent, but as a pairing, did you feel that spark?
No, I don't think there's much spark at all. I think when you're first introduced to Lady Macbeth, I feel like in other adaptations, or even in my idea of what I imagine a story to be, is that she seems a lot more in love with the first half of the film or the story, and then once he starts to gain more power and becomes king, she then basically actually takes the position of king and is the one in control and is the one who's manipulative. And like that's normally teased just before he kills the king, and then from that point she takes control. Whereas in this one, I don't see the kind of love at the beginning, and like because at first I'm kind of convinced that she's doing it because she loves him and she wants them to do good, but then you realize this is her own kind of ambitions. But in this story, it seems a lot more it's a lot more separate. It's kind of their own separate performances, but I think that works for this because the whole film is obviously, I can't say like brutalist, but you know, like the castle doesn't look like a castle at all. It just looks like big blocks of concrete, and it's so like rigid and so just brutalist, like the style, like the architecture style brutalist. But I think that really reflects like in their performances, where it is so just to the point, and it's so just like it's so harsh and so like clearly just what it is. I don't think we need this attempted love story between them or massive chemistry, because that's fine. It doesn't change anything. And I guess especially for Ross, who hasn't seen the film, didn't know the story, if he didn't feel like it lacked a lot of love between the two, then it proves that it's fine and it doesn't actually impact the viewing, because people are only having that opinion because they know the story of Macbeth probably previously, because otherwise it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's another interesting point about knowing the story, is that you're expecting certain things that just might not be in this adaptation, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a weakness. I guess that's another way to look at it, because she's almost the bigger Lady Macbeth, the more prominent character, or not necessarily the most prominent, but like she's the big takeaway when you study Macbeth and understand the story. It's what she does and her role in the story that feels more impactful. Whereas here, she has her own thing going on that's effective, and it's a really great performance, and you feel kind of the weight of her breakdown and unable to cope with what's happening, but that not you don't get that same sense of manipulation and what the ambition of her character, what that drives her to do, and how that affects Macbeth. So yeah, interesting difference in that sense. I don't know, Ross, do you have any negative thoughts about the Tragedy of Macbeth for someone not familiar with the story? It's your first viewing of a Macbeth adaptation. Was there anything that didn't work for you? You've obviously talked about kind of the dialogue, but that's kind of offset by the visual style and everything. But was there anything that you were like, oh, I don't know, maybe the pacing, was it exciting as a film to watch for hour 40 minutes? Any negative thoughts about this film?
Nothing too bad. I mean, obviously, as you say, the language, I don't understand it, but that's it. It's a Shakespeare play. What we get, like, that's just what it is. I think it lacks a little bit of a punch at the kind of when Macbeth dies as well. It's not too much of a shock, which I think it is meant to be. Was one of my issues with it. But that's one of my only issues, really. I think the rest of it, because it's so like, I mean, it's pretty much I assume it's just the Shakespeare script, so you can't really go wrong there. But then, I mean, and then it on the other side, it's like technically brilliant. The performances are brilliant, so all round it's pretty good. So there's not too much wrong with it. But as I say, I think that the death scene and what it's meant to be like, it wasn't really, but it's still enjoyable. It's still it made for a good story. I think it expected as well. I think you expect him kind of to be killed in that fight scene as well. But yeah,
I forget you do get like a little fight scene, which kind of feels at odds with the rest of the film. Like, obviously, you hear about Macbeth's triumphs on the battlefield, but you don't actually see any fighting going on. Like, you see like murder taking place, but not an actual sword fight in the manner that you get at the end. So yeah, so another part of the film that I guess didn't work for us. Mason, do you think, obviously we knew what was going to happen, but in terms of the way it was shot, the drama, in terms of just as an action sequence, did you think that the sword fight with Macduff worked? And even the one before that, who's he fighting before that, for Macduff, the one he defeats?
See, this is where I got lost in the story, because I thought that was the king's other son, because the other one goes into hiding, doesn't it? I think that's the older son who wasn't there to begin with and has come for revenge. But I feel like that story was kind of lost, that kind of storyline, because I thought that was the whole point of the army that went to attack Macbeth, was the king's like angry kid. Yeah, because they think his brother's been killed as well. So yeah, I thought it was something like that. That's shot really nicely, actually, to be fair. There's a few scenes like, when Macbeth says he can hear the trees moving and he has that fear of them moving, and he opens the windows and all the leaves come like flying in. That's a really nice shot. And that fighting scene kind of straight after that's really good as well. But I think the last one with Macduff does just feel like more of a nod again to being on stage, because it feels very kind of timed and theatrical, which I quite like it. Like I've said it already, like that's what I like about this adaptation is, like you said, I think it hits a nice balance of being cinematically beautiful, but also delivered in a way that's true to being a Shakespearean play. And that's what I do like. Like, it's really funny when the reveal that the king's son is alive, and he's been hiding on what looks like just like a U shape of like stone. He kind of pulls him out, and it's like, oh my god, he's alive! Like, because you can imagine how many, like 400 years ago or something, that being a big like, oh my days, as he comes out from behind the rock, and it feels like you're on stage. So that's it all kind of works for me. And like I said, although in modern standards that a fighting scene at the end is nothing, it's still good. I still liked it.
I like the moment when his head is taken off. You kind of see the blade slit his throat, and then like a third of a second, it's like swoop away from it. Yeah, that's the way it's done. I also saw another tweet where it was like, I'd like to live in the Macbeth house. And there's something pleasing about it, because it just looks cool. Like, it would be completely impractical, but there is something about, like basically you say, about being like rigid, and it is just pretty bare most of the place. But it's the way they designed it. I don't know. There's something aesthetically pleasing about it that made me think, oh yeah, I could live in the Macbeth house. Right. Any more thoughts on the Tragedy of Macbeth? No. Good film. I think did it deliver on what I was expecting? So obviously I'm a big Coen Brothers fan. Interesting to see one of them going by himself. And it's a Macbeth adaptation. You know, there's kind of a certain level of prestige attached to that. You get Denzel and Francis McDormand in the lead, so you know you're gonna get great acting. And I think for most part, I delivered. I think the main thing that we've talked about is just how it looks. That's gonna be its legacy. Like, I've been seeing screenshots on Twitter for like 2-3 weeks of the cinematography and all the work that's gone into the production design and everything like that. And I feel like that's gonna be the biggest legacy of this adaptation. But yeah, I think it delivered. Apple's best film I've seen out of the, I don't know how many Apple films are there at this point, like 8. Maybe
loved that cartoon one, didn't you?
Yeah, I do like Wolf Walkers. Yeah, I do like that. I'm going to rewatch that before the Mason's Apple thing expires, and I never see their movies ever again.
Yeah.
Also need to watch Coda. That's also another.
Oh yeah, I finished Ted Lasso the other day. I have to finish that.
Oh yeah, gonna be annoying when season 3 comes around.
Yeah, that will be really annoying.
It's just annoying because how much is Apple? And the thing is, if I was up for paying for it, because I don't have any Apple devices, they don't cater for me. So it's like
you can't search properly on non-Apple devices.
Yeah, like my smart TV is alright, but it's still like, yeah,
it's annoying.
It's not worth it. It's worth maybe buying it once a year for the month before the Oscars, so we can just watch what we need. Because otherwise, it's not it.
And it is annoying because Scorsese's next 2 films are both going to be at Apple, so that's going to be annoying. It's not even like if I was in London. Actually, to be fair, there might be an independent cinema, so I can find that's showing it actually in cinemas. In London, obviously in London, you can find any of the streaming films that'll be somewhere. That's showing
£5 a month.
£5 a month.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it, is it? There's not enough content on there to justify it.
No, but maybe once they start bringing out more stuff.
Yeah, you never know. Oh well, that's the Tragedy of Macbeth. Good stuff all around. At Corona Cinema on Instagram, at LeonWait98 on Twitter, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, Stitcher, Podbean. Next episode is going to be a cool one. Going to look at the work of Pedro Almodovar, a guy I discovered in the year of 2021. He was my most watched director on Letterboxd. Binged my way through like 80% of his films and decided for the head-to-head we're going to do my 2 favorites are the ones that I saw, which was Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, up against Volver. I think that's how you pronounce it. Volver, because it's going to be Spanish, Volver. And and we're doing that because his new film, Parallel Mothers, is out in the UK on the 28th of January. And that's going to be the main review. Until then, go well.
Cheers.
Cheers.